Hey, everybody. I just wanted to say, number one, good job on finishing the exam. We're halfway through the course. I think it's downhill from here, so let's finish strong. I don't have exam results done yet. I mean, I'm taping this on Saturday, and 6 out of the 14 students have completed it, and that's fine. I mean, deadline was Sunday night, so yeah, I'm expecting most of them will come in tomorrow. And as soon as I do get them graded, I'll give you some feedback like I did the first time. So watch for that and you'll see that. So next up, our third unit, we're going to talk mostly about health insurance, but I do also want to talk about life insurance, and that's where we'll start. So we'll do this week on life insurance, and then we'll transition into health insurance, which is a much bigger topic, and it's something that's been in flux for a long time. I mean, the Affordable Care Act, it was controversial. It was passed in 2010. And we still have been going back and forth on the main idea, which is, are we requiring people to buy health insurance or not? That was really the main idea. That was the key idea behind it, because the thought was, well, that was the only way you get insurance companies to buy into the idea that we can accept everybody. If everybody's forced to buy it, then we'll take everybody. But if people get to pick and choose, we're going to have an adverse selection problem because the healthiest people will choose not to. And then we're trying to, there's no good way to spread costs among a population that is probably going to be filing claims. And so it kind of gets back to the idea of, wait a minute, does it really make sense to use insurance as a way to pay for healthcare expenses? If these things are not random and accidental, I mean, pretty much everybody's going to the doctor at some point, right? And then if we're going to have everybody in the pool filing a claim, you start to say, well, wait a minute, the way insurance works is when hardly anybody files a claim, and then it's cheap for everybody to pool their resources together to cover everybody. But that's not what health insurance looks like. So it's fair to say, is insurance really the best way? Is that the optimal way to provide healthcare coverage? It's a fair question. For the group of people who is healthy and only has random experiences with the healthcare system, sure, that works fine. But people with chronic conditions, that doesn't work well at all. So do you stuff everybody together and treat them the same way? Or do you keep them separate and say, well, only people who have unexpected healthcare expenses can be served with the insurance market? And those are really the two different philosophies that are competing. I don't want to get too far ahead into Unit 3, but those are some of the things that we're going to be talking about. First thing that we're talking about this week is life insurance. So we have a lecture. The first 9 minutes or so is talking about a previous semester's exam. A lot of that feedback would apply, but you don't have to watch that. I'll give you more up-to-date specific to this class stuff later. So I'd say skip the first 9 minutes, and then you can join in there with our discussion on life insurance. You'll want to read chapters 11 and 12 in the textbook. So chapters 11 and 12 in the textbook deal with life insurance. Then I have an article that talks about looking at life insurance and how it changes over time, which is really an interesting thing. Nobody had done that until Liebenberg and Carson and Dunn came along and wrote that article, which is why it got in the Risk and Insurance top journal, the Journal of Risk and Insurance. That's a big deal. Incidentally, these are 3 people who I would say I know fairly well, which is kind of cool too. They're some of the top scholars in the field. So I included that article. I think it's interesting. Like always, we have a quiz. And then this week, we also have a discussion. Fairly straightforward, just asking you to think about the impact of COVID-19 on businesses in the context of, when we face risks where we have unknowns, those are the dangerous ones. And COVID-19, for all intents and purposes, that's what it is. An unknown. Who could possibly have predicted this, right? So I just wanted you to spend some time thinking about that. You'll see. So we got the video lecture, we've got an article and a quiz, we've got discussion. That's the expectations for this week. I will give you some feedback on the exams when I get a chance to go through them after everybody's had a chance to take them. Other than that, that's enough. Let's have a good week. And if you have any questions, like always, you can get me over email, and we'll go from there. Thanks a lot.